Everybody, it's Dr. Eric Balcouch. We're back for another edition of Thyroid Thursday, and today we're talking about diet. I've gotten a bunch of questions. What's the best autoimmune diet? What's the best diet for somebody with hypothyroidism? What's the best diet for somebody with hyperthyroidism? There's a lot of people kind of touting that they have, this is the thyroid diet, this is the hypothyroid diet, this is the hyperthyroid diet, this is the autoimmune diet, this is what you should do for the rest of your life. And they have it all figured out. Look, all this dietary stuff, for the most part, it's all been made up. So when somebody says that this is the specific diet that you need to eat for hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism, it's all BS. So, and I apologize to anybody who's written a book saying this is the thyroid diet or whatever, or however they want to phrase it. I'm sorry, it's BS. So we need to keep a couple things in mind. There's been, I don't know, thousands of diets at this point that everybody thinks is the best diet, or maybe help them with a specific condition. And so therefore they think the diet that helped their individual condition is the diet that's going to help everybody with the same condition. And oftentimes it's just BS. And so keep in mind that everybody develops thyroid related problems for different reasons, right? For one person, it could be an infection. Somebody else, it could be toxicity. Somebody else, it's disrupted sleep. Somebody else, it's emotions. Somebody else, it's disordered breathing. Somebody else, food reactivity. For a whole bunch of people, it's a whole bunch of those things all combined. Is there a specific diet that's problematic for any specific condition? Sure. That diet is the processed food, junk food, high alcohol, lots of toxin diet. That's the one you should avoid. It doesn't matter what condition you have, you should avoid that for any health condition. And you should focus on a very simple principle, and that is eat more whole food, eat less processed food. That's the best diet for the average person. So whole food based, low processed food diet is what everybody should really be focused on about 80% of the time. It's hard to be perfect. If you want to be perfect, fantastic. Eat all foods as close to nature as they came out of the ground, as they walked the earth, as they swam the ocean, as they came off the tree, right? That's the best, but it's not likely going to happen, right? So, but that should be the primary issue. The other thing you should be eating a calorie-appropriate diet for your height, your weight, your age, your activity level, and your goals. And so how many calories should you consume? It all depends. And so that's where, if you know what you think your optimal is, you know what your height, your weight, your age is, what your optimal body weight is, what your goal is that you're trying to accomplish, you can plug all that stuff in. There's plenty of online calculators where you can kind of plug that stuff in and you can get a rough estimate of what your caloric intake should be based on your age, your height, your weight, your goals, and your activity level. And once you know that, then it should be whole food based most of the time, 80% of the time. It doesn't really matter what condition you have. The other issue that you should take into consideration is that you want to be macro based. And that means you want to have a certain amount of protein, a certain amount of carbohydrates, and a certain amount of fats. And that too, the percentages of those things may change based on what you're trying to accomplish. Are you trying to lose weight? Are you trying to gain muscle mass? Are you trying to maintain physique? Are you trying to manage, are you trying to be ketogenic? Are you trying to manage a blood glucose regulation issue? Set your macros based on what you are trying to accomplish. As a rough estimate, so everybody, I'll give you my rough estimates for most people is about 40% of your intake should be protein, about 30% carbohydrates, 30% fats. And those carbs and fats, you may tweak those based on your activity level and what you're trying to accomplish and what you're trying to do. If you're trying to grow more muscle mass, you may need a higher level of protein in your diet. So I think the easy number from a protein perspective, you could say 40% of caloric intake. So once you figure that out, that what your caloric intake should be, then 40% of that should be protein. The easier way to look at it is to say, I think my optimal body weight's 180 pounds. So I want to get about 180 grams of protein in my body on a regular basis to maintain my size, my health, my fitness, and my muscle mass. If I wanted to gain more muscle mass and grow more lean body weight, then I probably want to increase the protein and I decrease one of those other factors. Or I would eat a gram of protein per pound of, maybe I want to gain 10 pounds of lean muscle mass. Maybe I increase, so that may be 190 pounds instead of 180 pounds. And so then I want to eat about 190 grams of protein per day. So very simple way. But what your specific percentage is going to look like is really based on what as I said, your age, your height, your weight, your goals, and your activity level, okay? Any point in time, one of those things you might consider is that any whole food-based diet may be better for you. If you're on a carnivore diet and you're not feeling optimal, well then why not change your diet to more of a more balanced diet? Why not try an AIP diet or a paleo diet or something else? Just change it up. That changing up your diet may make you feel differently, may make you feel better, may make you feel worse. But you could rotate between those whole food-based diets and see how they change your overall physiology. It's not unusual that somebody who has a lot of chronic inflammation in their system, have gut-based issues going on, and especially if their GI tract is already inflamed, if they reduce the amount of plant-based foods, that they say, wow, I feel a lot better, because plant-based foods have some toxins in them that can trigger the immune response in the GI tract. And that's not abnormal. That doesn't mean it's bad. But if the GI tract is really inflamed already, moving or shifting to a diet that has less of those things that could incite more inflammation could potentially be beneficial. But if you're a vegetarian and you're not doing well, then change your whole food diet. But most people, when they do these different diets, aren't really doing necessarily a whole food-based diet. They're doing a processed food version many times of these types of diets, and they don't do well. But any whole food-based diet is likely going to be a good place to shift to if you're not doing a whole food-based diet first or currently. But I suggest you just do a whole food-based diet. That means you get optimal levels of protein, you get optimal levels of healthy carbohydrates, and healthy levels of fat. And you don't have to go to any crazy. Is it carnivore? Does it fit the carnivore religion? Does it fit the vegan religion? Does it fit the paleo religion? Just eat more whole food like the way it came off the earth and everything else. So what should you do from a dietary standpoint? Determine your optimal caloric needs based on your physiology, based on your goals, based on what you're trying to accomplish. Are you trying to lose weight? Are you trying to gain weight? Are you trying to gain lean muscle mass? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? So determine optimal weight based on your goals. Use an online calculator to help you calculate your caloric estimate. There's plenty of these online. You go to these online calculator for caloric needs. It's going to ask you your height, your weight, your age. It's going to ask you how many hours a day you exercise, and then it's going to give you an estimate. Okay. Then 80% of the caloric needs, try and get those from whole foods and are as close to natural form as you can get. Get your macros right. I think a good starting point for most people is a 40-30-30 ratio. So 40% of your intake of your calories should be protein. So simply put, 1 pound or 1 gram of protein per pound of optimal body weight. And then 30% of the rest of the calories should be carbohydrate, healthy carbohydrates, not a bunch of junk. And then 30% healthy fats. Increase variety. Try and eat as wide a variety of foods as possible. Don't get limited into just chicken and rice and apples, chicken and rice and broccoli, chicken and rice and beans. Get lots of diversity that helps your gut biome, helps your health overall. And then 6, try and eat in season when possible. Try and eat local when possible, so local in season. And then lastly, look at EWG.org, look for the Clean 15, the Dirty Dozen. Try and eat as much organic, low pesticide foods as possible, but definitely use the Clean 15 and Dirty Dozen to determine which foods you really ought to be making a priority to buy organic and which ones you can get by without buying organic. Hope this helps. If you have any questions, put them below where you ever watch the video. All right, take care.